Let me just make sure that I'm comfortable and got everything ready. Oh, that's hot. Let's get to the messages. Let's not mess about tonight because we've got a lot to talk about. Lots going on in the world. So we're going to do some light and frothy. We're going to do some very serious. What's going on? Oh, shut up. And we're going to just lots of information for you. Alexa, are you going to play tonight?
I don't know that.
Good. Shut up. Carl Bassett. Ho, 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 Adrian. You're wrong. And from Carl and Irene. Thank you for telling me what's happening about this morning show. Like you say, Adrian, that's showbiz for you, darlings. The Bovril. I want to be a disc jockey. You're wrong uns. Need 2 turntables. That's not a euphemism before you start. To Mr. John Up. Evening, Adrian. You're wrong un. Merry Christmas to you and your wife and family and to all tuning in. They've buggered off to Switzerland. No, France. Wrong country. No, they're in France with planks of wood on the ends of their legs, leaving me to starve at home. Possibly watching now. Hopefully not. While they're having dinner. Mark Bryden, classic rock drum covers. I think that's code. Mr. John Up. Adrian, I'm a fan of Piers Morgan. Is that I'm not a fan, Mr. John Up, or is that I'm a fan of Piers Morgan or of Joey Barton, but they're not happy with the BBC's choice of sports personality, Mary Apes? And I tend to agree with them. What do you think? Don't think, Mr. John Up. It's a dangerous thing. Unless you can smell the wood burning, then that's definitely me. What do I think of Mary? I don't know who she is. And don't be saying to me, oh, she's one of them lionesses. The lion is always the leader of the pack. In nature. I don't know who she is. Did you see what she was wearing to go? I mean, surely she must have known that she was going to possibly pick up the sports personality of the year. So obviously not having one other than a potty mouth, she's decided to invent a personality. So she's worn some dress that its theme was underwear. Do you know something? I'm a little old school. I like my women to be women, not some faux excuse of femininity so that they have to show. Look, if I want to go and see what's in the butcher's window, I'll go and look in the butcher's window. I don't want to see it on page 5 of me daily newspapers. I don't want to see what you're wearing underneath. That should be for your partner, male or female. I'm not judging. But for me, no class. None. Zero. Zilch. And like, what's that other one with the bloke's name? Alex. She's getting the old bouncy castles out for anybody to look at. And I just think to myself, hang on, girls. What are you doing? Can we have a bit of class, please? Not your underwear. Class. So, oh, sorry. Did I say that all out loud, Mr. Jollop? That's exactly how I feel. They're not class at all. If you have to go near naked to an awards ceremony, then that's no class. And there being women on the bounce, that's not a euphemism. Look, good on them. Good luck to them. I hope they're very successful, and I hope they achieve everything that they would like to achieve and earn the money that they would like to earn. But for me, turning up in your underwear with a skirt on, no class. And there are much more attractive women that actually cover themselves up and don't wear that much makeup. I'm not a fan of all this slap either. I'm just an old boy of a different time, and these women are not attractive. Zero. And I've seen some of the footballers who purport to be straight and anything but. I've seen the pictures. In fact, I've seen the videos. Purport to be straight because then, well, if they say, well, I'm on a slightly different bus, the sponsors wouldn't sponsor them. It's all about the Benjamins. It's all a bit grubby, innit? Grubby. Just saying, for a friend. Joey Barton, he's absolutely got that bob on. Absolute bob on. Can't disagree with him. But you know something? If you stick your head above the parapet, what's the old Chinese military saying? Nail that sticks up gets hammered down. And in this society we're in, we're all getting cancelled. Oh, no, you can't say that. Here, mate, Foxtrot Oscar. I'm not interested. Well, I'm not interested in what you think of me because it's got nothing to do with me. None. This is rhetorical. I'm not talking to the people that have left messages and on the chat. No, not at all. But it's just these, oh, Adrian, you can't say that. I think you find I can, because me mouth opens, me tongue waggles about, and noise comes out. It's called words. They're mine. I'll take responsibility for them. I'm not interested in your wokeness. We'll talk about the BBC's woke sphericals in just a little while. To Andrew James, is it just me, Adrian, but my wife and I haven't seen any Christmas markets this year apart from lots of German markets or little fairground. It's not the size. Trust me, it's not the size, Andrew. Even the smallest can fill prams. Or a little fairground in town rides erected in Andrew, stop it, man. You'll just lead me astray. In towns with tons of food stalls nearby. Well, what do you go to Christmas markets for? Pork, cracknels, applesauce. Crackling, sorry. It is true, Andrew. I lived in Edinburgh for 10 years, or Edinburgh-ish for 10 years, and they have the most fantastic German market. But it's kind of German, sort of, really. But loads of food, loads of grog, Glühwein. God, I love Glühwein. But how German is it? Got no Battenberg. Obviously, it's German. To A. Blackmore, he's out on the lash. And he says, Adrian, I'm out on a Christmas night out with the lads from footy. Love you, Aid. Best wishes for Christmas and all that, sphericals and stuff. I sim to you, Eddie, have one for me, please. Or 5 or 10. I think I might be in need of them soon. And Eddie Blackmore says, P.S. Piers Morgan is the biggest... is that Walker? Can't see, I haven't got my glasses on God's earth. I can, but I'm not going to repeat it, you wrong'un. Eddie Blackmore, I will. Hey, how did you know I was going to say that, Eddie? So, Mr. John, agreed, Eddie, enjoy your evening, stay safe. I'm not going anywhere, Mr. John, unless somebody breaks in. Have you been watching Slow Horses yet? Episode 5's just dropped. One more episode. They've left it like 10 days or something. It's something like December 29th before the last episode of Slow Horses is dropped on telly. But, it just is fabulous. Andrew James to A. Blackmore. Did you see the debacle with Piers and Crowder on Talk TV? Piers talks big but hates debating. Jesse Ventura and Ted Nugent both shut him up. Yeah, saw those. Oh, where's GB Patriot tonight? He said, you've got to watch this. And I was going to talk about chuff. Because as a young guy on radio, I hadn't been in long. I'd only been in about 3 or 4 months, and I was trying to be clever on air. So I said, it's about the size of a gnat's chuff. And then I could hear this thumping coming down the stairs, and I was like, oh, that bloody hell's that? And it was the news editor, and he came, hello, Jono. And he came downstairs, and he said, Adrian, do you realise what you've just said? I said, no, I've just done a time check, and I've just, what do you mean? He said, you can't say chuff on air. I said, why not? It's just a colloquialism. It's a saying. It's a thing. He said, you can't say chuff, man. It's disagreeable. And I was like, not where I'm from, it's not. We've got worse things than that. It's disagreeable. And then he told me the meaning. I didn't know. So hang on, let's have a look. GB Paper is bound to be in the house tonight. And he said, was it swinging chuff or dandy chuff or something chuff? And I watched this video. It's all about Nicola Bulley. If I can remember, I will put the link to the video in the description for this live. The presenter, the boy, is proper deep diving into that stuff. And what he's come up with, it just beggars belief. I mean, I never thought. And then we get Gaynor Lord in Ipswich, and now there's another one in Perth near Dundee in the River Tay. So although, you know, one was January, Nicola Bulley was back in January, but Gaynor Lord was barely 2 weeks ago, and now we've got another female, possibly. They're searching the River Tay, for this female. They've had the helicopter up, the police helicopter. Oh, right, okay, GB Patriot, thank you for that. I'm in the Battenberg house. Brilliant. Will it stay erect, GB Patriot? Dame Anna, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, but oh, Dame Anna's on the CBD gummies. Hey, we'll talk about kind of getting off your nuts. Deontay Wilder, he's been out and done some ayahuasca. Tell you about that a little bit later. But first, thank you to everyone who took part in the Ask Alexa. Alexa, are you not going to talk to me tonight?
I don't know that.
Oh, well, you're hopeless. Anyway, thank you for asking Alexa on Sunday night. That was a bit of a giggle. So, if you have anything you want to ask Alexa, you can do tonight in the chat, in the comments. But I've just got one thing to say to you, Alexa. Say coffee beans 100 in Welsh. Oh, have you taken that off again? I thought we rehearsed this earlier. I ask you a question and you give me the answer. I mean, it's dead simple. Do you agree? Alexa, do you agree?
Everything seems to be working. If something looks wrong, you can use the Alexa app to submit feedback.
Well, everything of mine's working. I don't think everything of yours is working because you've just ignored me completely. Again. So, Alexa, say coffee beans 100 in Welsh. I'm not playing this game if you're at it. Alexa, say coffee beans 100 in Welsh.
Coffee beans 100 in Welsh is Fa coffee cant.
Excuse me? Say coffee beans 100 in Welsh. Oi, Alexa. Alexa, stop prattling about. I've got loads to get on with. Say coffee beans 100 in Welsh.
Coffee beans 100 in Welsh is Fa coffee cant.
I thought that's what you said. She's in a bad mood. I'm not going to tackle her tonight. Anyway, tonight on this live, it's live number 49. 50. The all buffer. I didn't say it. She did. I asked her, and that's what she said. I'm not quite sure what that means, though. But anyway, Sunday was fabulous. That was random. So the live tonight, the next live is going to be, well, I'm not sure. It's either going to be Boxing Day or it's going to be New Year's Eve. I'm not quite sure, so you'll have to keep your ears open and I'll try and let you know as soon as possible. I doubt it's going to be Boxing Day, but I can always move it. I can move it any time of the day or night. I've not got anything on. It's only Christmas and New Year. Says he, being facetious. Mad Matt UK, laugh my arse off. Dave Manor, you're setting off the Alexa in... Am I saying... So if I say Alexa, does your thing go off? So hang on a second. So if I say Alexa, with everybody that's got Alexa, do they say what she just said? Alexa, say coffee beans 100.
Coffee beans 100 in Welsh is Fa coffee cant.
Are they all going nuts all over the land, all over the globe? GB Patriot. Adrian, ask Alexa, who is Adrian Allen?
Adrian Allen Leopard, CBE, QPM, is a retired senior British police officer and a former commissioner of the City of London Police.
Is he? So you see, Alexa's not that clever, because there used to be a Wikipedia page, and friends of mine, Bex and Dean, like 20 years ago, gone, here, I can ask me speaker, and it says, who's Adrian Allen? And then it gives a full rundown of your career. Yeah, that's gone. Dame Anna, yes. Mr. Jonup, yes. My Alexa says it. Vivian Kenyon, yes, she's in fine voice in Welsh. Do you know what a microwave is in Welsh? Pop the ping. A jest not. Welsh for microwave is pop da ping. Wonderful. Andy Turner, ask Alexa if she knows Adrian Allen, Alexa. Do you know Adrian Allen? Huffy bugger. Bob Smith, Alexa, do you work? Do you work or the CIA? Alexa, do you work for the CIA?
Amazon takes privacy seriously. For more information and to view Amazon's privacy notice, visit the help section of your Alexa app.
Oh, brilliant. Napoleon blown apart. Adrian, can you please explain for any Americans in here, what is Boxing Day? I know, obviously. My family have no clue. Well, Boxing Day is the day where you get so brassed off with your family that you start fighting. You don't in your family. I thought that's what Boxing Day was for, because everybody got the wrong presents on Christmas Day. Everybody's bored with everybody else's company, so everybody starts scrapping. Out on the streets, out in the shops. Have you been to the sales on Boxing Day? It's nuts. Did it once, never again. Alexa, the vapist wants to know who was on Epstein's list.
I couldn't find a list called Epstein's.
It's Epstein's. Can't you pronounce it properly? Epstein's is Epstines, Alexa. It's Epstein, man.
This might answer your question. The surname Epstein is one of the oldest Ashkenazi Jewish family names.
Ashkenazi, that's very interesting. Because Ashkenazi Jews come from sort of the pogroms in Russia, don't they? They come from Eastern Europe. So there's Ashkenazi and Sephardi. And the Sephardis are sort of North African, aren't they, Alexa? No, I was just asking you. So you've got your Ashkenazi Jews, like, well, if Jeffrey Epstein was an Ashkenazi Jew, but you've also got the Sephardis, haven't you, Alexa? Got more knowledge than you. Blimey, live longer. Tell Block Tracy, give gifts to poor people. What? Ask Alexa what she knows about. Yeah, Alexa. Alexa, I'm trying to get on, but what do you know about Area 51?
Area 51 is the common name of a highly classified United States Air Force facility within the Nevada Test and Training Range.
Have you been there? Definitive statement. Obviously, you don't like questions. Ask Alexa, why are there 104 people watching and only 13? Yeah, Alexa, why is there 104 people watching tonight's live and only 13 likes?
I don't know that one.
Oh, it's all right. Go back to sleep. Bless you. Mad Matt UK says, Adrian, are you touching on Michelle Mone tonight? Have you seen how much Botox and fillers in her face? I don't know. It's just that she's on her yacht, moored in the Med, and the yacht is sailing under the flag of the Cayman Islands. Aren't the Cayman Islands a tax haven? Yeah, I think you'll find, who was it? I saw this yesterday. Somebody found her yacht, and what did they call it? The pandemic. It was double P. Pandemic provider or something like that. So, yes, we are going to talk about Michelle Mone because I have been watching it and laughing my cap off. In fact, should we talk about it now? I was going to give you a rundown about what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about the Royals. Big Willie has got a new nickname. And let's talk about Princess Diana's real resting place. Have you seen The Crown yet? I'm not going to give you any spoilers, am I? If I talk about The Crown tonight, it's been on bloody weeks, man. You should have watched it by now. You know me, get in there like a rat up a drain pipe. Andy Turner says, Alexa, is the DJ Adrian Allen any good? Is that a diplomatic silence, Alexa? No, I was asking you, is the DJ Adrian Allen any good? How do we end, shy woman? We'll talk about Zelensky and what he's been told to do. Oh, I bet his wife's away in Paris buying handbags again, but he's been begging everywhere for money. We're going to talk about boxer Deontay Wilder off his nuts. We'll talk about Big Brother, not the TV show, no, the EU state. Just remember that anybody that votes for Keir Starmer is voting to go back into Europe. But I'm going to tell you tonight what Europe are going to do before they even get us back in. It's not nice. And Donald J. the Trump, is he actually the saviour of the world? We'll do more, Alexa. Won't we, Alexa? Oh, don't be throwing Mardies with me, woman. I said Alexa. Right, good. And we'll get into the word chuff. But I just want to not necessarily mark your card, but Andy Turner. Well, that's a note then. Yeah, I'm shite. GB Patriot. Kissy Sunak Family Trust is based in the Cayman Islands. Oh, they're all there. They can go on holiday together. That Michelle Mone, man. She, what can I say? Because obviously she's got very powerful lawyers. And anybody that doesn't agree with her, or a hubby, now, I'm old-fashioned, right? I'm going to ask you this. Why has a married woman got a different name to her husband? Now, you know, you can call yourself whatever you want. But I always thought, as an honorific to your husband, because, you know, he forked out for the engagement ring. And women normally take... Honestly, I was telling my own story in my head there, and my mouth wasn't working at the same time. Is it old-fashioned to have someone take your name? I mean, you know, it's 2023, so it might be reversed. It might be that the husband takes the wife's name or something like that, or hyphenates it, or, you know, there's any myriad of bits and pieces. But she's called Michelle Mone. Money. Just add the Y. And he's called Dougie Barrowman. So... are they really married, or have they both got showbiz names? Don't know. But I know one thing. This story isn't over by an absolute country mile. By what I've seen defies description. And if the National Crime Agency have got their claws into them, oi, 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 grab your popcorn. There's going to be some show coming. Promise you. Now, obviously, for legal reasons, I'm not going to go into too much detail. They've got more money than me and more powerful lawyers. Alexa, how many illegal immigrants are there in the UK?
As of 2014, the murder rate in the United Kingdom was 0.9 murders per 100,000 people.
Have you been on the cooking sherry, Alexa? 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 Oi! Mardias. Alexa. There you go. Everybody's just going off. I didn't ask you for the murder rate of 2014. It's like 9 years later. I was asking you how many illegal immigrants are in the UK. Why? Do you know, I always knew why. I was never part of a showbiz double act. Blimey, you're about as much use as a chocolate fireguard man woman. And as enjoyable, to be fair. I was going to say this earlier, I just wanted to get your attention. Yeah, nomad preppers. Too bloody many, Alexa. I was going to tell you that seemingly there's a storm pier. I mean, that's a bit posh for a storm, isn't it? Pier? How many people call their kids pier? Not the one where they stick a lighthouse on the end of it. No, that's P-I-E-R, Alexa. No, not now, man. For dear Lord. It's pier.
I don't know that.
Well, you keep telling me that all night. No, storm pier. P-I-A. Now, I thought it was P-E-E-R. So, they reckon the weather forecasters and the BBC, they've put out this, I've had a text. I've had a text from the National Grid. Not that I know them intimately, but just that, well, you know, they like to text me every now and again. Dear Adrian, there's going to be a storm, and it's called Storm Pier, and you have to be prepared. Now, I'm not quite sure how you prepare for a pier. That's not the one with the lighthouse on the end, and that's not somebody standing there having had too much beer. That is P-I-A. I have no idea. But I just thought to myself, when are we going to have the storm that's going to knock the National Grid out? Because you know that's coming, don't you? I mean, there's Liz Truss. Crashes the economy, couldn't do anything other than crash the economy, and then said to us, oh, by the way, there's going to be some power cuts over Christmas. And you think, hang on a second, we're generating our own power. We've got hydro power, we've got wind power, according to Thomas Dolby, and we've got other stuff. So why would we need the power cut off? That was Liz Truss, anyway, before she tanked the economy. But if they're reckoning we're having storms, which is just a bit of rain and wind, when's it going to knock the grid out? Just wait. Look, I'm not psychic. I keep telling you, I am not psychic. If I was, I'd be winning the bloody lottery every weekend and I'd be away somewhere sunny. Cleethorpes. And I don't know why I'm telling you this. Wiki Videos 13, brilliant. Pier might blow the P off the pier. Brilliant. Just before the 2024. Oh, Rocky Akhenaten. Very good. We might have a power outage just before the 2024 US elections. Can you imagine? We're going to talk about the Donald in just a little while. But I wanted to tell you that much against my own wisdom, I first did the Great North Run. It's a half marathon. It's 13.5 miles. And I first did it in 1983. I was merely a slip of a lad. And I did it to impress a woman. Didn't work. But I crashed the car. Driving back home. My legs wouldn't work. Crashed the car. And then the year after, I did exactly the same run. And I met someone that I was with for quite a while on the run. So, Pia. Pissed in action, ken the bit, ken the bean. I can't remember what tea that is. Anyway, I digress. The Great North Run, 13.5 miles, and I'm doing it next September. So they say. So I've got to get training for it, otherwise you can walk it in 3 hours-ish. In fact, some people can run a marathon quicker than I can run a half marathon. And just to give you kind of a bit of context, you have two systems. You have the anaerobic and aerobic capacity. Your aerobic capacity is your ability to do things for long periods of time, and your anaerobic, the sprinters amongst us, are those that can do things in quick succession. And like some of my training sessions when I was sprinting, we would do 60 meter sprints for just one session. And I was quite quick. I was 7.1 for an indoor 60 meters, which is not bad. Nearly beats the women's world's best, but that wasn't bad, considering that the world's best was like 0.5 or 0.6 of a second way ahead of me. That may as well have been 10, 15 yards ahead. But so the anaerobic amongst us are not great marathon runners or half marathon runners. It's the people that have the great aerobic capacity. And I haven't. I'm shite, but I'll beat you over 10 inches anytime. The Vapist says, ask Alexa. Have you noticed that? Hang on a second, Alexa.
I'm based in the cloud. You don't need to sync me across devices or download updates to get new features.
What'd you tell me that for? I was in the middle of something. I was about to be profound, Alexa. Arse. Have you noticed how people don't say ask anymore? They say ax. What's that about? Now, I don't purport to speak the Queen's English, but it's ask. So I was going to say, the Vapist said, ask Alexa. All right. Will you wait, woman? Will you wait? I'm in the middle of something. Just let me say, ask Alexa. Electronic spy says what?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Famous, she does not know what you're talking about, my friend. No, my preppers list. Has anybody seen the state of E17 ex-singer Brian Harvey? I know that, well, you know, I did contact Brian ages ago. I interviewed Brian when he was part of E17. Cool, blimey. That must have been, that was a long time ago. That was 27 years ago. Oh, it must be before that. 93. Oh, blow. That was 30 years ago, man. Stop it. You're aging me. I haven't seen him on his channel. I'm aware of him. I know that he was bang into the convicted stalker. Les, no, I'm not going to rub that one in, mate. Dave Richardson, they also say much instead of many. Do they? What do they? I mean, I've no idea why people say axe. A-S-K, ask. I can't read that one, don't know what it means. So, Great North Run, next September. I've paid through the nose. But, so I was going to ask you, I don't know whether we do it tonight or whether we do it in the new year, but A, should I do it for charity? And B, what charity? So, I have said to you, and I know you've heard this from others, but look, if I'm doing this for now, I'm not going to ask you for money. I have raised, when was the last time I did the Great North Run? So it would have been 2012 was the last time. So my intention is to run the Great North Run quicker than I ran the Great North Run the first time I ran the Great North Run. And I ran it in 2 hours 39. Could have walked quicker, to be fair. And then the year after that, I knocked some time off it. And then what would have been my quickest, I ran and did commentary for BBC Radio Cleveland, as it was at the time, or BBC Radio Tees, as it is now. And I did sort of live updates as I was going along. And I was en route for a sub 2 hour half marathon, which is no great shakes. It's decent. Between 1 hour 45 and 2 hours is sort of good club, athletics club running. Anybody that does under 145, fitter than a butcher's dog. So, the old bottle, do it for the homeless. Good idea. But which charity, though? Because the charities that I want to steer clear of are those bigger charities that have chief execs that are earning 100 grand a year, or those charities where they'll take sort of 75-80% of the money for their overheads rather than being helpful with the homeless. But good shout, definitely a good shout. Diamana, do it for charity PTSD resolution. It's a fab veterans charity. Interesting, Diamana. I'll definitely look at that. Is it Trevor Colt that does stuff for PTSD? Is that his charity, or the charity that he does stuff for? No way. Alexa, rap. Oh, sorry. No, Alexa. Volume 3.
chemistry formulates with all of the elements.
Can you hear that?
Engineering builds the world that we
Alexa, volume 5.
succeed. Astronomy looks to the cosmos and galaxy. Physics knows matter, motion, and gravity. Biology examines all cell-based life. Medicine saves us from sickness and strife.
Alexa, stop. Who do you think you are, Einstein? I said stop, woman.
Call for a toast.
Alexa, stop. Thank you. I was meant to say, Alexa. Alexa. Oh, man, don't be doing that. I know you were mid-rap, but I didn't want you to rap. I wanted you to bark. Alexa, bark.
Here's dog noises. Okay, here's Jurassic bark.
Hang on, the neighbours will start. Is that it, Alexa? Alexa, bark.
Here's dog noises.
Alexa, that's not a dog, it's a rat. Can we have a bigger
Sorry,
dog?
I'm not sure.
What? Can we have a bigger dog? We need to get a bigger dog, Alexa. Can we have a bigger dog? Bark.
From thenest.com.
Who?
In general, the bigger the dog, the bigger the bark.
That's what I'm asking for a bigger dog for. Alexa, bigger dog bark.
Sorry, I don't know that.
So you give me a rat pretending to be a dog. Alexa, bark.
Here's dog noises.
That's not a dog. Alexa, I'm telling you, that's not a dog. That's a rat. Let's have a look. Mr. Jonup, started my dog off now. Sorry, Mr. Jonup. Nuts bolts. Alexa sounds rough. That was terrible. Terrible. Lauren Taylor, hospices aren't funded yet. Offer of... Ooh. As do HeliMed. That's a very good idea, Lauren. I didn't think of hospices. Marcia Toms. She set my Westie off. Love little Westies. The Vapist, ask Alexa to translate 12 months from Estonian to English. I think that's too far. Definitely, she's not doing it. Andy Turner, yeah, he called out his manager and people around him, and they called the police on him to try and stop him talking. Who, little Brian? Let's talk about little... We'll do some of the, I said, light and frothy, and then we'll get some of the weightier stuff. Shane MacGowan, A Fairy Tale in New York. Now, I've got a bit of insider knowledge. I'm not going to tell you where I got it, but insider knowledge. So, Shane MacGowan, for being... Wow, he's a party starter, even when he's shuffled off. So, you know, everybody that went to his funeral last week, they decamped to a Tipperary pub for the wake. Obvs. 10 grand was put behind the bar, as stipulated in Shane MacGowan's will. Obviously, a little tribute to the permanently sozzled songwriter. They drank the place dry. Can you imagine it? The party, 10 grand worth of falling down juice brings you. That's brilliant. Let's get on to the saviour of the world. It's just a phrase. It's not, you know, don't get your knickers in a bunch. But if you sort of step back from what's going on in the States and around the world, you've got that organised crime gang, OCG, Biden, and Hunter. I mean, how he's getting off with some of his stuff. Yeah, Chip Atkinson, bark like a Rottweiler. They don't bark, they just chew. So Donald J. Trump is being told by the Colorado Supreme Court that you're disqualified from holding the office of president via the 14th Amendment. Everybody's gone, what? What? And they've removed him from Colorado's presidential primary ballot. Now, look, everybody knows that there's seven of them decided. 4 of them, the Democrats have gone, oh, no, he can't stand in this state, no. And everybody's gone, what the Jesus H have they done? Well, the political classes, and I told you, over the last 2,000 years, you had the priestly classes who decided what was going to go on and how it was going to happen. And if you didn't believe in what they told you, then they'd burn you at the stake for heresy. You couldn't argue with the church. Oh, blimey. The stuff that would have happened to you if you'd argued with the Pope. I mean, I can argue with him now because he's chief paedophile, bless him. But back in the day, William Tyndall translated the Bible from Aramaic and thank you, Marcia. Really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. So just let me get this Pope thing out of the way. So William Tyndall translated the Bible from the original Aramaic and the Greek and the Latin and just put it all into English. And the Catholic Church in Rome went, whoa, he's done what? Get hold of him, find him, do him. And they burned him at the stake. And yet a king comes along, King James, and he goes, do you know that English Bible? I think it's really brilliant. And the Pope goes, do you? Oh, it's fine. If you put your name to it, it'll be fine. So 85% of the Old Testament, because it's the Torah, really, and the New Testament, about 75% of it, is Tyndall's translation into English. A king puts his name to it, and the Pope goes, that'll do. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Thank you very much. So you get to the kind of priestly classes losing their way when Henry VIII went, "Hey, you lot, Foxtrot Oscar." Direct quote. Either that or he'll behead you. And they just went, "Oh, Jim Atkinson, the Donald is great. Thank you very much for your kindness." And Marcia, thank you for your kindness as well. Thank you both. It'll help buy a Battenberg for Christmas Day. Thank you, sir. So the priestly classes were on the wane through what we would call the Middle Ages. And now, sort of 200 years ago, the political classes go, yeah, let us have a bit of that. So now the priestly classes have no sway anywhere, anytime, ever. In the Bible, how can they take half of it and go, right, we'll take that on board and we'll call it the Old Testament. It's not the Old Testament, it's a Torah, man. And then they get the New Testament, and what they do is, not that I've studied the Bible, I have, but if you go into the New Testament, you've got the Roman Catholic Church turning round and saying that Abraham and Ishmael, it's all allegory. It's all made up. It's a story. You know what that means, don't you? No Jews, no Muslims. So the Catholic Church in Rome are telling everybody around the world, in the Bible, it's there, Galatians, I think it's verses 18 to 22. I think it's either chapter 1 or chapter 2, verses 18 to 22. Ishmael and Abraham, the Abrahamic religions, they don't exist. It was all a story, made up. But that's what's in the Bible. So you've got the priestly classes absolutely saying to everybody else around on God's green earth, no, with the only religion. No, it's only us. Look, says in the Bible, Abraham and Ishmael, it's a story that didn't exist. And everybody reading the Bible's going, hang on a second, what do you mean? So, they're all crooked. And now that they've been messing with the kids, they deserve to burn in hell. So it's all about power. That's all that is. It's all about power. So the political classes, having now got the control over the last 200 years, they absolutely, categorically do not want the Donald anywhere near power. They'll do everything. They're going to pull every stunt that they can to make sure he doesn't get into power. So not only have they tried to get him in court 50 million times, and he's just laughed, and now they're saying, oh, the Colorado Supreme Court, he's disqualified from holding the office of president via the 14th Amendment. Now, here, lads, just Foxtrot Oscar, man. It's just, you can't do anything because it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And we know what the game is. The Democrats go, oh, he's a bad man. He's a bad man. No, let's have Barack back. Let's have Barack back. Barack's already the bloody president. You can't see speedy Joe Biden running around going, no wonder he's sniffing kids' hair, man. He's trying to get coke out of it. He's off his tits, that boy. He's the leader of the Western world and they're giving him speed for breakfast on his cornflakes. What? According to all the sources that I may happen to have seen. He's too old and he's saying to himself, well, not bad for an old boy. Not bad for an old boy. And the people, well, the people that are looking after him are like, oh, this guy's off his chump, man. He's not right in the head. So now the political class is realising that that Hillary might want to have a bash, or Barack might go in. He's had 2 terms, so he can't do any more, can he? Barack Obama, he's had 2 terms. Off you go, mate. Oh, they love it being Mr. President. They love it, and they make loads of money. Have you noticed how they become rich when they come out of being president? How does that work? Where does that money come from? Stuart, I laugh my cap off. He keeps falling up the stairs. I know, it's brilliant. But he falls off his bike. He comes to a stop. Off he goes. He's just... And some of the stuff that boy's done is just too funny. It's a comedy routine. I'm sure they've decided, the powers that put him in power have decided he's a Manchurian candidate. He's working on behalf of the Chinese anyway. And they've put him in going, oh, it'll be really funny. Can you imagine? He can't speak properly. He'll fall asleep. I'll just put some speed on his cornflakes. That'll get him going till lunchtime. Every time I think of Joe Biden, I think of the old Billy Connolly sketch about the national anthems. Oh, I'm not going to tell you. You'll have to find it. Billy Connolly, national anthems. Wonderfully funny. But the Democrats, it's literally ABH. ABH from the Democrats. Anyone but him. But they can't get anybody because now they've gone, oh, right, you can't stand 14th Amendment and we are the Colorado Supreme Court. We've decided 4-3 that you can't stand. He'll have just gone up in the polls again. I mean, these people are not bright unless they actually want Donald in or they want him to do a motorcade in Dallas, Texas. One of the two. I mean, I say that in all humour. I mean, joking aside, we wouldn't want a JFK because you just know that if they've got a great president, they get rid of them. And if they can't get rid of him, if they think, and Barack Obama today has come out and said, oh, I think the next election is going to be close. What? We didn't think they would pull stunts last time. What, you don't think it was rigged? Dayman has said to Ken the Bean, Ken, sorry, you've just set my Alexa off. Same music too. Is she rapping? Ken the Bean. No, she's not. And Dayman has said, oh, I've had to mute mine. He's been driving her mad. Not a first, Dayman. Story of my life. So I think everybody should just wind the neck in, especially Democrats in America. Wind the neck in. Why? Well, one, this is going to be turned over by the US Supreme Court. You know who's in the US Supreme Court, don't you? Clarence Thomas. And who put Clarence Thomas into the Supreme Court? Donald J. So I think this is going to be overturned by the US Supreme Court. And these efforts by the deep state to prevent the next Trump presidency, as I say, it's just going to have what they're calling a mugshot effect, which is just like they're just going to gain him more supporters. Because every time the state does him down, people go, hang on a second, I had him wrong. If the deep state are after him, I'm going to support him. Lauren Taylor, wasn't it funny? The Archers theme tune. What? Oh, Chip Atkinson, can you imagine if he got in and released Julian Assange? Oh, I mean, this is the thing. If he gets into power and is the next president, so he'll be 45 and 47. Now, 45 is a 9 number, which is the power number. So what does he do? To brass the other side off royally, what do? You just do what they don't want to happen. Free Julian Assange. Give him a presidential pardon. Can you imagine? Mr. John Up The Archers theme tune for our national anthem, says Billy Connolly. Oh, yeah, brilliant. I thought it was he, didn't he do like walk really, the bit that got me, that I thought was really funny, was we are the Jerovians and we don't give a shit. That bit, all of it, wonderful. Rokida. Grandpa Simpson is doing a tremendous job as president. Oh, it's too funny. I mean, we're being serious. I know that Joe Biden had some brain injury or has had surgery on his brain. So at 80-odd-year-old, he's not going to be the best. He's going to try his best, but it's not going to be the best. And the fact that we know for sure, fact, that there have been wire transfers from places in China into the Biden household. Now, who received it is a matter for conjecture. But if the Chinese are giving the Biden family money on the fly, that's what I'm saying, Manchurian candidate. He's the Chinese candidate. When, they were pointing the finger at Donald Trump going, oh, it's the Russians. It's the Russians. The Russians are doing it. And Donald J's going, I have no clue what you're talking about. Now we do, because they were accusing Donald of the very thing that Grandpa Simpson's doing. The Vapist says, I wonder if they will add Trump's name to Epstein's client list. Will explain why they are releasing it. Well, we've seen the videos. He was mates with him. How can I... Right, I'll nail my colours firmly to the flag post. It is no crime being on Jeffrey Epstein's list or little black book. Those names have been released before. I've seen them ages ago. We know that Randy Andy, Ponce Andrew, was all over the girls. We've had people visually see him on Epstein's Island. We've seen, you and I in the video, we've seen Randy Andy in Epstein's house waving off one of the girls. But what we don't agree with is if there's been kids involved. We don't. If it's been, in this country, if it's under 16, it's statutory rape. Prosecute them. Don't hold back, just prosecute them. We're not interested in any excuses. These men are adults. They know what the deal is. Bill Gates, Bill Clinton all over that dress. Here, Monica, fancy a cigar. These people are intelligent men of the world who knows what's what. And if they can be proven that they've done anything nefarious, then just hoy the book at them. Just do it. We're not interested in their protestations. We're not interested in anything other than being straight up and down. If it was consensual and if it was of legal age, then who are we to argue? But if he's definitely been a Mossad spy, like Captain Bob and his daughter, then that also needs to come out. But this, I think you're right. I think they are releasing the Epstein list because it's got Donald J's name on it. But what other evidence have you got of that? Have you got the videos? Because seemingly Epstein loved to video stuff. If they've still got, and they should do, because look, they jailed him. So the FBI will, unless it's a deep fake, of course, and then we're in a whole world of pain. But I'll ask you this question. They reckon that 170 names are to be named. High-profile associates of Jeffrey Epstein will be named in court documents set to be unsealed in the first days of 2024. And those names on that list have been given 14 days to appeal. Now, I'll ask you this question. Why would Randy Andy, Bill Clinton, and Bill Gates allow themselves to be photographed with Epstein? Because as sure as eggs are eggs, they already knew he had better pictures of them. But we've only got, look, let's have Christmas, let's have New Year, let's have a little snifter, and let's get to the New Year, and let's find out who it is. But names are just names. I mean, if you want to see who's been on his on the Lolita Express, certain names have been on there. If you want to see who's in his little black book, Charles Althorpe is on there. You know who that is, don't you? Dale Steele, snifter. Dale Steele, you utter wrong'un. I don't. Well, I do, but I drink it. You rang my lady. Hello, Andy and Marcia. And Nuts and Bolts. Wonder if Alex B's name will be on the list. No, he's not that powerful. He's not got enough money. I just want to point something out. So I told you we were going to talk about the Royals. Do you know... here's a question for you. You know, we're coming up to Christmas. We're only a few days away from it. But do you think in Lord Cameron's household they'll serve pigs in blankets for Christmas? Just asking for a friend who wants to know. If anybody sees David Cameron, just ask him. I am pigs in blanket for Christmas lunch. We love them. I think it's fantastic. I'm Battenberg. The old Bovril, Maxwell knows it all. He does. But do you know that... I've read the most recent biography of him, which was, I think, earlier this year. And it was kind of okay. It was insightful. But when Captain Bob went over the side, you know that once you've been interred in Jerusalem, in the Jewish graveyard in Jerusalem, and I've been there. I've stood in that graveyard looking back towards the old city. You can't dig them up. By law, you can't dig them up. So once whomever they interred in the Jewish graveyards at Jerusalem can't dig them back up. So how do we know it was him that was buried? We don't. Wiki Videos 13. I bet Blair is in on it. Have you ever heard of the... I'm kind of going off script here because I want to get to the Royals in a second. Have you heard the story about Tony Blair and Gordon Brown? Now, I was told this many years ago. And the story goes something like this, and I'm having, for legal reasons, to sort of dance around it and can't give you exact information as I received it because... Well, just because. But there was a kind of a docudrama made by one of the main TV channels, either BBC or ITV, might have even been Channel 4. And seemingly there was a dinner. And Gordon Brown was very ambitious and Tony Blair was very ambitious. And they kind of brokered what they were going to do. And Blair, and I'm paraphrasing, said something to the effect of, right, Gordon, shall we just agree that I'm going to be the next Prime Minister? And Gordon said, well, that's not particularly how I saw things happening. And Tony Blair said, Gordon, I think I should be Prime Minister. And for some inexplicable reason, if I'm not Prime Minister, well, then stories will come out. What do you mean, Tony? Tony Blair, again, I am paraphrasing, I'm not quoting. And the word was, we'll just have to have some stuff come out. Won't we, Gordon? And Gordon said, okay, you can be Prime Minister. But on one condition. When you stand down, I want to be Prime Minister. And that's why, after a while, it was really odd that Blair stood down after, the illegal war and the sexed up documents. And yes, he was. I actually saw it was some kid was it in the Middle East that had done this paper, and I still might have it in my archive somewhere. And that was the basis for going to war. WMDs, weapons of mass destruction, 40 minutes. Oh, flying a kite there, Tone. So that's how Tony Blair became Prime Minister. It's all murky and dark politics. Who would want to be involved in politics? All that lot, because I think they're going to make it to the top. I was going to tell you, yes. So there's a new nickname coming out for Big Willie style. Similarly, it's Tyndall. Mike Tyndall's come out, and he's in Prince William. They're giving him the nickname One Pint Willie, OPW, One Pint Willie. And when the reporter was like, because him and Zara were laughing about it, and when pushed, it was like, oh, he's not a massive drinker. You know, I come from rugby, you know, where we start with the first 20 pints, and then it's more social than sport, and then it becomes sport when we start falling over. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but seemingly he's got a new nickname, Prince of Wales, One Pint Willie. And just as a little aside, I don't know whether you're going to play games at Christmas. Is that a tradition you do in your house over the festive period? Maybe the afternoon of Christmas Day, maybe on Boxing Day. But I tried a new game. I wanted to try a new game before I got to my sister's, because we're all competitive. I wanted to win. And I've downloaded an 80s music quiz game. Wasn't very good. I couldn't get past level 42. I'll leave it with you, you wrong'un. I thought it was not bad. Better than some of the jokes we get in our crackers. Stop pulling them. I want to talk very quickly about Diana's resting place. Because if you've watched The Crown, you've got The Crown. And if you haven't watched all of them, kind of turn the sound down or something. Don't go, stay, but turn the sound down. I'll be 30 seconds. Not a first, let me tell you. So I was in amongst it. I was in amongst Fayed's organisation running Liberty 963 at the time, or part of the management team, and was right in the centre of London. Altrop is in Northamptonshire, which is about an hour-ish outside of London. If you're being taken there by motorcade, probably less. But you know that they said once they took it to Altrop, and you didn't see her being interred on the island, and Charles, who's in Epstein's little black book, said, yeah, we're going to bury her on the island. There's a white plinth and a white urn to mark her resting place, and we're going to do that so that people can't just come willy-nilly. That's not what I heard. And I watched The Crown, and I watched how they put William there, how he went in the rowing boat, got there, had a one-to-one with his mum. And I thought, that's not where she lay to rest. They told the public that, because that's what they wanted the public to believe, so that no one would try and access the island to where she was rested. So it kind of controlled because when Diana died, I don't know where you were. I'm sure you remember where you were when you heard the news, but I don't know whether you managed to get into London. And I was living in Hampton, literally half a mile from Hampton Court. And obviously I was across everything that was happening, all the news channels, all the wires, all the newspapers, because that was my job at the time. And I was told, no, she's being buried next to her dad. Really? Is her dad buried on the island? No. It just stops all the yikes trying to get at the grave. So where's she buried again? Next to her dad. That's where she wanted to be buried. Now, seemingly, there is the Spencer family chapel or whatever it is. And if she is buried there, I'm not suggesting that this is definitive. I'm just telling you what I heard as part of the Harrods organisation, that she's buried next to her dad. And it's in a church a little way away from Altrop. Spencer Chapel. Now, I don't think they've got a marked grave there for her. But I watched The Crown thinking, that's not what I know. And the bits where they talk about her being on the jonquil and where Fayed was running around and what Fayed was trying to do. Yeah, I think that actually is absolutely bob on. But there's something that I want to put in a video eventually when I can get round to it that proves what was going on. So I think the crown is quite accurate, but not as accurate as some people are making out, for sure. Now, I want to make a point about Michelle Mone, or Michelle Mone-ing. Oh, the only thing we did was we told lies to the press. I mean, how stupid can you be? Because I've said this to you before, every journalist knows the answer to the question that they're asking. So it doesn't matter what you say, they already know what you're going to say or what the answer is, depending on what you say. And they were asking her ages and ages and ages ago, all but cuff. Because they knew what was going on. And Laura Kuzman has, and for legal reasons I can't go into detail, but Laura Kunsberg, yeah, whatever. The BBC's journalist was asking them not fairly pointed questions, but questions enough to get a little rise out of them. Pair of them. And you could see they were bricking it. I mean, there wasn't a flicker of emotion on her face. That's because it was all Botox or something or filler or whatever. It was plastic nonetheless. But I'm going to ask you this question. Where's the story gone? It was everywhere. Now, this is only Wednesday. And she did the interview with Mark William Thomas last week. I thought that was quite naive of Mark, but I'm sure he had his reasons. And then the BBC managed to, and the BBC were always going to want to knock the coconut off the shy because she's a Tory. Nuts and bolts. What went wrong when I fired on Punch magazine? Just don't think it was selling enough. As a little aside, we'll get to Mone in a second. I know. Oh, I'll leave it for the video because there's loads to talk about. There's Punch. There's Kevin Keegan. Flats being created at the top of Brompton Road, opposite Harrods, for him and Arthur Cox, and Keegan not wanting it. Don't know why. Well, I do, but it's not for now. And Fulham Football Club. So it was all in the same building, and I just wandered around. I was in Punch loads of times. Didn't want to write for them. I was just in the magazine loads of times, and I was there down in the Fulham Football Club office downstairs, and we were. Tower Block Tracy, terrible. Blair and Sherry looked across a crowded room and said, "Cool, she's gorgeous." Even David Blunkard's guide dog turned her down. That's Sherry Blair. The Hurt. Super Chuffer is the Nicola Bully YouTube. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you, That Hurt. Who found the new info link with Peter Folding. Yeah. No, Peter Folding is from Super Chuffer's video. Go and have a look. It's an amazing video that's been researched brilliantly. And it was it not Nicola Bully's dad who was the driver of the livestock? And I'm not going to repeat what he alleges, but it's very worthwhile going to watch the video. Big time. It's only 28 minutes or so. Watched it all yesterday. Brilliant. Very well researched, and it literally will take your breath away. So I don't know whether they can ever relate Gaynor Lord to that, whether they can connect that, or this new woman that's gone missing in Perth, in the River Tay. I do hope that she's found safe and well. in Perth. I don't want anything to happen to the lady that's involved or to her family. But she's been missing for 2 days now. Helicopter's been up, and I know that they'll have very, very capable search teams searching for her. And the helicopter will have thermal imaging. They have night scope, night vision. They have all kinds of different tools on the helicopter. And if they can't find her, nobody can. So, but I do hope she's found safe and well. I do hope that nothing nefarious has happened to her. And it is concluded just before Christmas. It's an awful time for something like this to happen. I mean, the closer we get to Christmas, there, by the grace of God, go I. You know, we all hope we can get to be with our families, safe and well, just for a day or two or a few hours or however long. But Christmas is always a terrible time for stuff like this to go missing and tragedies to happen. Volodymyr Zelensky. Now, I told you about 6 weeks ago what was going to happen. Again, I'm not psychic. If I was, I'd be a multimillionaire, and I'm not, so I'm not psychic. But I did tell you that he was going to be portrayed as some kind of egocentric maniac, and that he was going to get the begging bowl out and go around the world trying to get money out of people. I think somebody's just stumped up another 50 billion. He must have had $1 trillion from around the world in support and funding. But what's he being told to do? I'm hoping that I can find this really quickly, because it's breathtaking. So let me tell you, up until now, I'd heard that the Ukraine had lost 400,000 Ukrainian men killed in action. 400,000. Now, what observers are saying, this could actually be detrimental to the Ukraine, because they've got no men to father children. And then today, Volodymyr Zelensky comes out and says, we need 500,000 men. Well, where are you going to magic those out of? The cupboard marked 500,000 Ukrainian soldiers? I mean, where are you going to get half? Oh, you're ahead of me, aren't you? Rishi! Stop Rwanda. I know where we can send 500,000 of them. Because Volodymyr Zelensky wants them. So, anybody coming over? So they're talking about, if off the top of my head, they're talking about net immigration being about 750,000. That'll do. Give them all to Zelensky. Give them all to Volodymyr. There you go. Problem solved. Easy. So today, Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukrainian president, and a military observer says, in humanitarian terms, this tragedy has resulted in the Ukrainian nation being destroyed in a war that never needed to be fought. Estimates of Ukrainians killed in action, KIA, ranged from a low of just over 30,000 to a high of over 400,000. Now, obviously, these two estimates can't be reconciled. And it really, really matters to the people of the Ukraine which one is closer to the truth. Now, whilst 30,000 deaths is tragic, anything approaching 400,000 men killed in action and the accompanying hundreds of thousands of casualties is a humanitarian catastrophe that makes talks of continuing offensive operations next year in 2024, or even believing in a stalemate, is wishful thinking that will result in even more fruitless Ukrainian deaths. So, as I predicted weeks and weeks ago, he would be portrayed as an egocentric maniac, and he would be told by the powers that run the place, broker a peace deal. So now he's not going to get the men. He wants 500,000. He's not going to get the men to be able to fight the Russians. So how quickly are we going to get peace in Ukraine? It's not far away. Let me tell you about what's going on in the Red Sea, because it's getting really fruity. I know I've been on quite a while, so I'll try and wrap things up over the next 10 minutes or so. So have you watched the price of a litre of fuel at the pumps go up to £2, come back down to 150, hover about 140 odd, and then it's down to about 136 unless you're at Costco, which is normally about 8p cheaper. And now they're saying there's stuff happening in the Red Sea, and you've got to go through the Red Sea to get to the Suez Canal. And the Houthis in Yemen, which kind of oversees the Red Sea, are trying to bomb the oil tankers that are going through the Red Sea to get to the Suez Canal, to get through into the Mediterranean, to get into the European market, which is quite an extensive market. And now BP, Evergreen, Euronav, halt sailings, and also if you add the Taiwanese container shipping line Evergreen and the Belgian tanker owner Euronav, and they're going to halt sailings through the chaotic Red Sea as insurers, remember it's all about the Benjamins, the insurers demand war risk coverage. So they're not going to sail through the Red Sea. Where they're going? They're going through down the Cape of, is it the Cape of Good Hope? The Cape of South Africa. And the waters there are perilous. That's why they built the Suez Canal, so that the shipping didn't have to go down under South Africa, because the waters are treacherous, some of the worst in the world. And then they've got to come back up the west coast of Africa, and then they've got to sail into the Mediterranean. It's adding about, was it about 11,000 nautical miles to their journey, rather than just go through the Red Sea and then... So what's happening? Oh, no! All the oil tankers are going to have to go around the Cape, South Africa. Means we're going to have to charge more. So they're not interested in how that's going to affect you, how that's going to affect us long term. But over the winter, they're going to start charging us more, because they're going to have to send their fleets, their flotilla of oil around South Africa. And also, so that's 7 companies that are not going to go through the Suez Canal, not going to go through the Red Sea, because the Houthis are bombing us. How do we know it's the Houthis? I know they're in Yemen, but how do we know? Oh, because the media told us. Like politicians. And the UK Navy's also disclosed that an explosion hit the side of a commercial vessel near Yemen. See? Anybody could make this up. Anybody could fire something at one of those oil tankers going through the Red Sea towards the Suez Canal. Anybody could do that. And then they go, it's the Houthis. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody's lying, but I am. And the Norwegian owner of the ship confirmed that an unidentified object has impacted the vessel on the port side. This is one of the oil tankers going through the Red Sea. The chaos has caused some shippers to divert vessels around the Cape of Good Hope to avoid the conflict area. So in the new year, just watch. The price of a litre of fuel is going to go back up. Never goes down. I need to tell you 2 more things about the EU, because genuinely, these 2 things scare me. One, do you want to know what the political classes are trying to do to Elon Musk? Now, we've talked about Donald J, because they're going to move heaven and earth to make sure he doesn't get into power. They will try their damnedest. And if the American public vote him in, can you imagine what they're going to try and do? They're absolutely not going to allow that in a month of Sundays. So the EU, because Elon allowing David Icke's on there, Alex Jones is on there, it's a force for good, seemingly. That's what I'm being told. The EU Commission, they've opened formal proceedings against X under the Digital Services Act. It's on the basis of preliminary investigation conducted so far, including on the basis of an analysis of the risk assessment report submitted by X in September. Now, X's transparency report was published on the 3rd of November, and X's replies to a formal request for information, which, among others, concerned the dissemination of illegal content in the context of Hamas terrorist attacks against Israel. So the Commission are opening formal infringement proceedings against X under the Digital Services Act. Now, you and I both know that they don't want the truth getting out. They don't want you and I to know. They want to, we're like rhubarb, cover us in shite and keep us in the dark. So they don't want to tell us anything. So the EU Commission are now at X. They're the attack dog, if you will, to try and get X out of business. And, you know, Elon Musk turning around to, not Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was the guy that leads, the CEO of Disney, you know, the Foxtrot U moment. Don't need their money. Richest man in the world, don't need their money. I mean, can you imagine? You have all this power all of the time, and then all of a sudden, this little upstart appears and goes, up yours. And there's nothing you can do about it, because he's the richest man in the world, seemingly. And I'm going to have to dance around this, because this is important. And then I'll do this, then we'll talk about Deontay Wilder taking ayahuasca. The EU, you know, the one that Keir Starmer wants us to be back in, they dumped more than 200 million Charlie 19 jibber jabbers, costing the taxpayer 3.4 billion quid. Now, it's your money, not theirs. They're just squandering it. They just flash it around, give it to the mates, and just squander money. Don't matter, because as far as they're concerned, you're going to pay more tax. So since the end of 2020, the jibber jabber was given the green light, and EU countries have taken delivery of 1.5 billion doses. That's 3 jibber jabbers for every person in Europe. However, many have ended up in landfills across the continent. The figures were calculated using available data suggesting that EU countries have discarded, on average, 0.7 jibber jabbers per person. Top of the league is the Baltic nation, Estonia. I've only ever heard of them in Eurovision. They ditched more than 1 dose per inhabitant, followed closely by Germany. And as a little aside, keep an eye on Germany. I promise you, it's all kicking off there. Not just kind of protests and stuff, but proper kicking off. The analysis based on a total of 19 countries puts the minimum figure at 215 million jibber jabbers. Now, the average waste rate is projected across the rest of the lot. Could be as high as 312. 312 million doses. They are wasting. I mean, I know that you work hard for your money, to quote a Donna Summer song, but you work hard, they take it off you whether you like it or not, and your national insurance. Try getting a pension when you retire. And all of a sudden, they're saying, oh, yeah, it's just 200 million doses. Yeah, they're about 200 quid a pop, man. Or certainly some of the other ones have been. And in Ireland alone, 850,000 doses were believed to have been thrown away. In little Ireland, 850,000 jibber jabbers just hide away. They don't care. Money wasted. Just to warn you, because obviously it's going to be Christmas before I come back and do another live, but just in case you've bought any packs of apple and cranberry stuffing, if it's a bit more crunchy than normal, take it back. It's got the possible presence of moths. Obviously, they'll be dead now. But if it's more crunchy this year, check the package. And finally, what's that? Remember to hit the likes for R80. Thank you, Vivian. Where are we? Yeah, smash the likes, your ones. I just want to, now those that are have been here for a while or regulars will know that for the new Mrs. Allen and I, we went on our honeymoon to Peru, which is just a breathtaking place. I mean, you know, it could not have been any better. Just extraordinary. If M&S did Peru, and we had 3 and a bit weeks there. We had a week at a healing retreat, a healing centre called Kawsay, Kawsay, and we were looked after by 3 generations of the same shamanic family. 3 lads, granddad, dad, son. Wonderful. Don Romulo he's so old. I mean, he's older than a lot of the trees in the forest. But what a man. They couldn't speak a word of English. William, the owner, is just a fantastic soul. Just a wonderful, wonderful man. And he would translate from the shaman to us. Now, I know that Deontay Wilder, he says, I've been taking this psychedelic South American drug. I'm reborn. So the bronze bomber preparing for, I think he's going to be boxing over the next few days against a former world champion, Joseph Parker. He said, I've been working on self-improvement through psychedelic medicines in a certified centre in Costa Rica. Now, I actually looked at, it's called Rhythmia. I looked at it and decided it wasn't for me. Because from what I hear, they have, if you go and you go for the medicines, the plant medicines, and Rhythmia have in the room a lot of people in the room. I wanted, and as did the new Mrs. Allen, wanted to go and enjoy something a little more intimate, a little more quiet than having like 60 or 70 people in the room. Now, what I will tell you, and what no one tells you about ayahuasca, other than those that have done it, and those that have done it, it's called purging. Now, good on Deontay for doing it. He's gone to Costa Rica for his. I went to Peru. I'm so much more glad that we went to Peru and not Costa Rica. Not that I've got anything against Rhythmia. I'm just using them as an example. But he will have had quite a few people in the room. And Deontay told the Telegraph Sport that the ayahuasca retreat has made him one of the happiest men alive and more sensitive. And I believe that to be in a more emotional way. I mean, he's a boxer. He's one of the most powerful punchers there's ever been. And he's knocked so many lads out. You don't want to give them a hug, Deontay, when you're fighting them. You want to knock them spark out. But if you're connected with one, two, and I'm not going all tree hugging hippie on you, but I will tell you this. Ayahuasca is medicine. Now, seemingly, it's not... I'll look at the legalities. The next time I come back, I'll give you the legalities on it, because it was a little confusing for me that you could... I don't think you were allowed to bring it into the country. Sorry, using it is fine. You're not allowed to bring it into the country. But I'll get the legality for you another time. But what ayahuasca does is it cleanses you. It cleans you out. Now, whether you end up having a little... how can we say, cleansing, a complete cleansing of things, whether it's energetical, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritual, it's a cleansing medicine. And we did 4 ayahuasca ceremonies in 5 days, which is quite tough. Most of these people have done like 1 ceremony and they go, oh, I'm just fixed. Nah, mate, nah. So we did 4 ayahuasca treatments in 5 days, and as the treatments went on, so it became, for me, it became less violent. I was all loved up. I was at one with the universe and whatever the entity is that is God, Mother Ayahuasca, the Mother Nature, or whatever. The daddy is not ayahuasca. It's San Pedro. It's huachuma. Now you've got ayahuasca, which is a vine. And then you've got huachuma, which is a cactus. And I promise you that all these people that are doing ayahuasca and going, oh, it's amazing, it's wonderful, I got right off me nut. It's not about that. But once you've done huachuma and the San Pedro, so we did 4 and 5 days, had a day off, and the huachuma is a 12-hour ceremony. Ayahuasca, technically, is a 6-hour ceremony. So they give you a little bit of tea, you drink it, and you think, oh, that was... some people didn't like the taste. I thought it was fabulous. I'm from Sunderland. I'll drink and eat anything, me. And then 45 minutes later, all of a sudden, it's like, whoo! Hello, Bert! Ralph! But it's... it's meant to do that. It's purging. So normally purging means that people are just going to be sick. But I wasn't sick. I had the heat come out of my skin and I was overheating. I was like, holy Jesus, I know this is 35 degrees and 100% humidity, but it's just insane. The heat, the heat, the heat. So I went out and I collapsed like a shandy drinking southerner. Collapsed. And the owner, I said to him, look, I know what this is. I've overheated. I know what this is. I'm from Sunderland. I overheat all the time. I know what this is. Just get me in the shower. And I thought I'd been there for like 4 or 5 or 6 hours. 45 minutes. But the ayahuasca ceremony is only 6 hours-ish. You normally start about 7 hours and finish about 1 o'clock in the morning. But the huachuma, the cactus, the San Pedro, is 12 hours. 6 hours up, 6 hours down. And at Cauce, they feed you, they give you some soup, some nourishment afterwards. And it's like nothing. One day I will tell you my experience because it's quite traumatic. But it's not for tonight because it will take me the rest of the night. But for Deontay Wilder that says, oh, I've taken ayahuasca, brilliant, Deontay. I hope it has changed you. Me, it was the San Pedro. I'm not anywhere near. I'm not anywhere near what I was before I went out. And even the new Mrs. Allen's like, oh, you've calmed down a bit. Don't know whether it's old age, I don't know whether it's maturity, or whether it was the huachuma. And I sort of was there, but wasn't. Nuts and Bolt says LSD is 12 hours too. Really? Well, the ayahuasca is... so we start about 7. You get given the tea. Woof. I knocked it back thinking, oh, I'll have a bit of this. And then I just... Oh, Dan Payne. Where are you, Dan? Are you in Peru? Hi from South America. Are you in Peru, Dan? Ayahuasca is at least 3 days. Or Brazil. They do ayahuasca in Brazil also, don't they? We did 8 days. So we got there, on the Saturday, we did a ayahuasca Saturday, Sunday, had a day off on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, had a day off on the Thursday, and then we did the huachuma. And that was, Dan, you lucky man. Yeah, I went close to Peru in the Amazon. Beautiful, beautiful place. Breathtaking place. Saw the tarantulas and the snakes and the big tree frogs, Amazonian tree frogs, which were just... When I was a boy, I used to keep frogs and newts and stuff that we used to go catching near to where I lived. And when in the Amazon, I saw these frogs, the big pawed, big-eyed tree frogs. They are just breathtaking. And there was one night in the dining room, because the whole place is up on stilts, because obviously the Amazon rainforest floods certain parts of the year. And we were there in the dry season in August. And so we were up on stilts, and not many of the creatures came out of the forest and came onto the sort of the canopy where we were. But this tree frog, when I did the huachuma, I was so... Well, I don't know where I was, but hang on, Theo Bovril, I did mine this week. Did not go up to London like I normally do. I'm not quite sure what that was. Yeah, I did ayahuasca every Friday for a month. So you'll know, Dan, you'll know what I'm saying is the truth. It's, you take the tea, 45 minutes later, it starts kicking in. They have people in the room, and the maloka, that's what it's called. And they said, the magic word is, if you need to leave the maloka, it's baño. And I was like, baño? Baño? It's Spanish for toilet. So some guy near me said, baño. And I thought, yeah, I need to get out in the fresh air. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but I need to get out in the fresh air. Yeah, baño is toilet. Thank you, Dan. And so I went, baño. And some guy appeared in the dark, because it's pitch black, appeared in the dark, and just kind of got under my arm and staggered me out and put me in the toilet. And I was literally so out of it. I couldn't work out how I'd got into the toilet. I was trying to feel my way around because it was pitch black, and I couldn't find out where the door was. And it's just like this tiny little, it's got a curtain on the front so they can get you out if anything happens. And I'm trying to find my way, and I could hear voices. So I thought, oh, I'll just head to the voice. They're only like a foot away. And that first ayahuasca ceremony, I never made it. I never made it. It absolutely knocked me bandy. Dan, what was the reason for your trip to Peru? The new Mrs. Allen she loves South America. And we were looking at either going to South Africa somewhere or Africa for a safari. I wasn't really feeling it. And you know when something's not in flow, when something's happening but something's just not in flow, then it just wasn't happening. We couldn't make flights work. We couldn't find the right places to stay. It just wasn't really working. And I'd watched Joe Rogan and Graham Hancock, and they've all done ayahuasca. And I just said to the new Mrs. Allen, I said, you heard of ayahuasca? No. Do you fancy going to South America? Oh, yeah, that'd be a great idea. And the new Mrs. Allen's been to Argentina and Brazil, and she's been everywhere. She backpacked around South America for 6 months. Back in the day when you didn't have any telephones, you couldn't contact home, all you had was a map and your wherewithal. And she survived, thankfully. And so she just said yes. So I then said to her, have you heard of ayahuasca? No. Do you fancy doing ayahuasca? Well, what is it? Well, it's a medicine. It's a medicine. And she was like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I mean, we just never knew. And we had no reference points, because I'm zero tolerance around recreational. Absolutely never and won't. But we talked to the retreat. They said there was aftercare. So we took on board everything. We looked at it. We made a decision and we said, yeah, we'll go. Dan says, oh, yeah, cool, right, yeah. South America is amazing. I'd suggest Patagonia. Wow, next when you have time. And the Welsh corridor. Holy Grail apparently there. When I went alone on a motorbike, I was told where to go. I'm in Foxtrot Oscar, or you need to go down here and take a second left, Dan. And when we got there, we really didn't know what to expect. But the place that we went to is 2 hours up the Amazon. There's no roads, none. The only way you can get there is either by helicopter, and that's cost prohibitive, or you get a boat and you go up the Amazon for 2 hours in this little boat, which was a great adventure. And we get there, we've had lunch, and then we have a little time to sort of nest, get our stuff out and get ready, still not knowing what's going on. Oh, Dan, you're wrong. Knights Templar in this, really? Ooh. Now, where did I know they were in Peru, definitely, because they were great sailors. They were magnificent sailors, and I think they were probably in North America before anybody realised that they were the first there. Jip Atkinson says, Adrian, can you do a live just talking about this only? Yeah, of course I can. Yeah, anytime. Loads of stories about South America and the Welsh too. Dan, me and you will have to do obviously I'll do the live, but you can interact, because I think when there's somebody saying, yeah, that's correct, yeah, that is that, yeah, that's ayahuasca, it does that to you, then people get that I'm not in this for, Johnny big bollocks. I'm just telling the truth, because the truth is powerful in itself. So we did the first one, and I was not in a well place. I just wasn't. But the second night, oh yeah, they shrunk my dose a little. They said no, half dose for the shandy drinker over there, the ninja, and then so we would have a ceremony in the evening, and the following day we would have sort of a debrief with the shaman and with William, the owner, and that's, part of the reason why we were so glad that we went to Cauce, because it's genuinely a healing centre. It's there for your support. The food was outrageous, and I don't mean in a massive buffet way. I mean in the fact that you ate as much as you needed, and the food was created in a way that it was nourishing. So leading up to it, we had a special diet. We couldn't eat pork, no coffee, no sugars, no gluten, no. It was very restrictive. And while you were there, it was very restrictive. And for 8 days when you finished, it was very restrictive. But GB Patriot, it's AYUASKA. Ayahuasca, something like that. I'd have to write it down to be able to see it. I can't off the top of my head. AYUASKA, possibly. And as the week went on, I was getting more from it. And oh, didn't know that, nuts and bolts. That's very wise. Thank you for that. The proper way to refer to these psychoactive substances is entheogens. When used for spiritual purposes, means God within. And the really bizarre thing is, so the first time I didn't get anything. I kind of had some visions, but not many. I had, those that have taken ayahuasca will know. Thank you, Talbot Tracy. AYAHUASCA. Those that have taken it will know there are some common visions that you get. One of them is lots of eyes, and I on the second night, I got honestly. I thought I was only going to do an hour tonight. We're getting close to 2, but I'll stay and I'll relate this. Once I've finished this, then we'll call it a day. There are some common visions. And the reason I'm saying that, and Dan agrees with me, is we've had a couple of pictures that some of the shaman or some of the locals paint while they're on ayahuasca. So they're sort of channeling what you see because there's common visions. And I'll show you. I saw Mother Ayahuasca, the second one. The second ceremony was the most profound. Yes, some kind of entities. Yeah, got those. I mean, I was having. This is why I'm very hesitant to talk about this, because it's almost as if I'm off me nut. You know, you saw things, Adrian. Yeah, but relating them verbally is so difficult because it's a feeling. And I had a full-blown conversation, almost like I'm having with you, a full-blown conversation with Mother Ayahuasca. And those that have done ayahuasca will know exactly what I'm talking about. And I said to her, I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like a daft lad from Sunderland. I drink lager, I eat curry, I scrape my knuckles along the Sunderland. But Ali, the new Mrs. Allen, had quite a torrid time the first ceremony. And I was really, we'd been married less than a week before. And we didn't go on our honeymoon because we thought it was clever. We just wanted to go to Peru and experience all of it, and the Amazon and everything. We just wanted a full blown, and it couldn't have been any better. It was just insanely wonderful. Did you see entities and creatures? Yep. I'm going to explain that to you. So I'll do the second night, and I'll save some of the other ceremonies for another time. And the second night, I took the ayahuasca, just necked it. Thought, all right, here we go. I'm probably going to end up collapsed outside again. And all of a sudden I started, it kicked in really quickly. And I thought, ooh. And I saw, all I can describe them as is little meerkats. You know where little meerkats have eyes and there's loads of them staring at you? It's like loads of meerkats looking at me. And I was like, oi, Oi, what's going on here? Meerkats? What? And then they kind of disappeared, and I was seeing colours all the time, lots of it. And then out of sort of a mist came this head, this face, and it was female, and it was beautiful. I mean, it's not worthy of me trying to describe her, but it was Mother Ayahuasca. And all I kept feeling was, this is breathtaking. So I said to her, Mother Ayahuasca, please, will you look after the new Mrs. Allen? I said, I've only been married to her a week. She struggled last night, and I'm struggling to engage with this whilst she's struggling, because she was purging first night and second night. And Mother Ayahuasca said to me, all will be well. I was like, what's that? We're having a conversation here, man. I'm a human being. What do you mean? All will be well. I was like, wow, that's about as much use as a chocolate fire guard. But I can't, because it's pitch black. I can hear her, but I can't see her. So I was really concerned about the new Mrs. Allen welfare. And so I said to her, here, while you're here, because it was almost like a mixture of an Egyptian face and an Inca face. It was just big, full lips, beautiful eyes. And as a little aside, I have a picture that I've taken on my phone that freaked me out. When we came out of the jungle, there were some locals, they tried to sell you paintings. And this local just came out, you buy painting. And I looked at it and I went, look at that. And the new Mrs. Allen went, what? I said, that's Mother Ayahuasca. And she said, what do you mean? I said, that painting there, that's what I saw. That's Mother Ayahuasca. And she's like, calm down, man. We're just waiting for the food to come. I was like, so anyway, he tried to sell me a painting for like 350 quid. Aye, right, mate. I said, but so I can make my mind up. Do you mind if I take a picture? So I took the picture. And I'll show you it either on the community or here. But you will see that the face is beautiful. And I said to Mother Ayahuasca, I said, right, I need to learn. I need understanding. What is my purpose? And there was like silence, nothing. And I said, Mother Ayahuasca, I'm here for understanding, and I'm here to learn. What is my purpose? And she started showing me gold shapes, just all gold. And then all of a sudden, this golden tadpole appeared. And I said, what the bloody hell's that? And she said, oh, you know. And I said, I don't. Honestly, I've asked you a straight question. I've come all the way from England to Peru to ask you this question, and all you show me a golden tadpole. And it was like being told off by your grandmother, crossing her arms and going, oh, I think you do. I said, well, no, I don't. So she said, go gently, child. Jim Atkinson, no, you're wrong. It was, Dan says, yeah, I had the most amazing, beautiful woman too. And it's weird how we become so immobile, purging. I agree. My legs didn't work. All will be well. What a beautiful phrase. And the first woman to be shamanic from the Amazon I met and interviewed them was taken to a ceremony alone with the woman who showed me a few things I had never, ever dreamt of before. So the experience, according to Nuts and Bolts, can be expressed as ineffable, meaning beyond expression. Two great for words, inexpressible from Latin, ineffabilis, unutterable. I agree with you, Nuts and Bolts. So I'm having this conversation with her. She shows me the golden tadpole, and it's go gently, child. And I was like, Tower Block Tracy, Golden Tadpole, are you a Belfield's daddy? So I took that. I took the gold. I took the meerkats, and then I said to her, "All right, then, show me unconditional love," because I was getting quite combative, considering that Mother Ayahuasca is not going to get combative with me, and I'm talking to an entity. Like, I'm saying this to you, and you're probably thinking, "Oh, he's chump, that boy, been drinking too much coffee." So I'm glad there are Nuts and Bolts and Dan Payne and others that are here that have experienced similar, and as Nuts and Bolts says, we are merely a fractal of the ineffable, experiencing itself as consciousness. Nuts and Bolts know what I mean. And I said to her, "Show me unconditional love." And she said to me, "Are you sure?" And this is Mother Ayahuasca. I have no experience. I have no reference points, no contemporary relevance whatsoever. I don't know what's going on. I'm having a conversation with an entity that some churches would say is religious and some people would say not. But I said, "Show me unconditional love then." And literally, it was like I was being hit in the chest by a double-decker bus. And my chest was being ripped open. And then all of a sudden, I'm like one with the cosmos. And I'm like, what's going on here? And she said, "You wanted unconditional love." And I was like, yeah. And all of a sudden, I just felt everything, everybody, everywhere was love. Now, I'm going to contextualize this by saying I've fought all my life. I fought to escape Sunderland. I fought to get out of stuff that I'm not going to go into at this point. So I've had to fight all my life, like a lot of people. So for me to be shown unconditional love and then get really upset about it, and I'm sobbing uncontrollably. I know that when, as a psychic once told me, if spirit gets close to you, they come with love, and it ends up with you crying. It's not meant to be sad, it's love. So this, whatever it was, I asked her for unconditional love, and she showed me, and I was in amongst the cosmos, not the universe, the cosmos. And I couldn't get my head around it. I just couldn't. So I didn't, yeah, you get it done. So I kind of stayed there. And the previous night when I'd collapsed and been a proper shandy drinker, I mean, I'd never make a party animal, that's for certain. Yeah, right. The lights come up in the Maloka at the end, and the shaman, the 3 generations of the shaman are looking after us, and they're doing their incantations, and they're doing what they do. And the lights go up, and the new Mrs. Allen looks at my chair and goes, "Oh, hang on, he's not there. Where's he gone?" I'm in bed. I'm in bed, sleeping it off. But this unconditional love. So the following morning, I go to the Maloka for a debrief with the shaman, and we had some what they call flower baths to make sure energetically we were pure and nothing had stayed attached. And nuts and bolts, I can't put it into words. Sounds like you experienced ecstasy and rapture. There, yeah, I think that is a good take on it. And I was only 2 ayahuasca in. 1, I'd collapsed. And how can I put this delicately? It cured my constipation. My constipation was everywhere. And the second night, I'm experiencing unconditional love. It's like everything, everybody, everywhere was just love. And they do say you don't get what you want, you get what you need. And I think that what they do in South America, for the West, certainly it treats anxiety and PTSD and lots of other things that we in the West are maligned with. I mean, there's so many different things that we as a collective, as a consciousness, if you will, are our conditioning, I think, is the correct way. We are struggling with our conditioning. But Dan says in Brazil there's a religion called Santo Daime, or like the Dime Bar. They use ayahuasca in their churches, young and old, families and such. Oh, there's everybody we talk to. I mean, everybody in Iquitos, which is where we sort of based ourselves for a couple of days before we went up the Amazon. And everybody in Iquitos, are you here for ayahuasca? Are you here for ayahuasca? Because there's so many from the West, as in Europe. And in our group, there was Canada, America, Slovenia, Greece, me and the new Mrs. Allen. There was people from London. And there was somebody from Spain who were having very, very, very profound. Everybody had a different experience, completely different experience. But was it expensive? No, I think it was about 2.5, 3 for the retreat, for 2. I can't remember exactly. I'm sure. No, I think it was 2.5. I think it was 2.5 each, as in thousands. 2,500. And Dan says, did you see about in the UK or after you arrived in Peru? We paid before we got there, and the people that we literally met in a cafe on the first day. And yeah, it was a retreat all booked from home. Have a look at it. Kawsay, Kawsay. And there might actually be some photographs of me mucking about with some monkeys in the Amazonian forest, which was a treat. But I would say that if Deontay Wilder has done it, it will... Is that like 10 grand in Peruvian money? Yeah, it's 4 and a bit, isn't it, to the pound? So I think it'll do Deontay well. Prince Harry's done it. Who else was that? I was looking at somebody else with some other names, sort of big showbiz names that have done it. But it's been going on for decades. We met a guy in the hotel pool. He's like, "Oh, you here for ayahuasca?" Yeah. In some retreats, they'll give you the ayahuasca, the tea, and then they'll get you to lick some frogs, because there's more DMT in what the frogs excrete than in the ayahuasca. So yeah, we wanted to go somewhere that was reputable and not for either the faint-hearted. If I wanted to go there and meet myself, there's the old adage, know thyself. Yeah, Prince Harry's done ayahuasca. He's admitted it. I don't know whether he did it in spare, but somewhere it's in print. He's done it in an interview and said, "Oh yeah, I've done this. I've done ayahuasca." So I'm surprised that what I was trying to do was fly Putin in for a sesh. That's if he's still alive. And yeah, all the world leaders ought to do it. But I think what ayahuasca does is it makes you face yourself. You are who you are. And if you want cleansing physically, mentally, spiritually, they're all psychopaths. They're probably, I would just give it to them tight, give it to them strong and hard. But Huachuma, the San Pedro ceremony, it's the daddy. It knocks ayahuasca into a cocked hat. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah, Dan says, you face your fears once in a while. Nuts and Bolts says, the most unlikeliest people have done it. It's amazing. So that's a little insight into the Kawsay retreat in Peru. And I will talk about it and could talk about it until the cows come home, because it's a very special place. Everything is geared for your experience. So you go around, you take the ayahuasca, and then William will come round sort of around 9 o'clock. You start at 7. A couple of hours later, he'll come around and say, have you seen any visions? And if you say no, do you want some more? And there was a couple of lads next to me. They did a double dose. And how they did that, I will never know. Would I do it again? Oh, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Because I didn't get the real bad purging. I was just, I got the heat. So you can either vomit, throw up, that's purging, it's just getting rid of the badness, or you can have the heat that comes out of your skin, which it just feels like you're massively hot, or you can get yawns. Yawns is purging at the same. And I was literally yawning as if my head was going to split open. I was yawning massive, and I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna bust my jaw here. I'm not going to be able to English bottle cap. Very interesting question. What long-term changes to your outlook on life has it made? Huge. Chip Atkinson, you can't decide which one you're going to go for. It's just down to what you need, and the medicine decides for you. It will give you what you need, which is why it's so revered by the Amazonian tribes. What long-term changes to your outlook on life has it made? I am much calmer. Don't want to go fighting every day. Yeah, I agree with Dan. For him, it was a tool to look after himself better, eat more healthily and such. And I agree with you. It gave me an insight into who I am. Afraid of nothing. And ordinarily would go where angels fear to tread. I have no fear. But that's not me sort of giving you the Johnny Big bollocks, because, you know, we have to, as Dan has said, we face our fears, and those fears may be large, may be small. I had a huge problem with heights, and I went and did Machu Picchu afterwards. Now, those that may have done Machu Picchu, it's bloody high. Now, we did Machu Picchu about 10 days after we'd come out of the retreat, and it allowed me to deal with the height. I did I did one live from Machu Picchu, and yeah, talking for over 2 hours and only 86 thumbs up. Yeah, wrong uns. I think what ayahuasca and the wachuma did was it allowed me insight into who I am, and without turning into a tree hugger. Before, I was angry and I was violent, and I would fight anyone at the drop of a hat, anywhere. And there's loads of stuff I'm not proud of, but now I think it's given me, long term, it's given me maturity. It's given me insight. And I think there's an essence of who we are that is obliterated by our conditioning, by our social conditioning, by our familial conditioning, by everything, everywhere. And we don't experience it as love. Because whether you believe that there is somewhere else that we go to, whether we are a fractal of the ineffable, experiencing itself as consciousness, whether you believe in a God, or whether you believe in a religion, a particular religion, or you just believe in your own self, that belief comes from somewhere, who we are. And I'm sure people like Russell Brand and Joe Rogan and Graham Hancock and Prince Harry, everybody is trying to find who they truly are. And I did. Long term, I think the new Mrs. Allen is really happy with the new version of me. Really happy. But that's love. That's why we're married. She forgives me my foibles. But, I mean, there'll be loads of lads watching this who know for sure that they've had to fight their way out. Because we may not have been given the best start in life. But it's where we go, not where we're from. So I would recommend, Dan, it's only 7 p.m. Wow. And a final mention from Dan, what's more weird as an adult going through this is to see a child at a ceremony doing the same thing. They must learn so much in their culture from an early age. Well, thank you, Andrew. The shaman that were looking after us, the 3 generations, they had been learning from being the age of 4 or 5 year old. As soon as they could walk and talk, they were learning about the jungle. They were learning about the medicines. And there's so much that I won't go too far into it, but they had a cure for the Charlie 19. The minute it started going worldwide, they went to the government of Peru and said, we've got a cure. We've got a cure from the forest. Didn't take it. Didn't want to know. So when I went there, I was, Andrew, you're very kind. Best live so far. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the share. That's not the whole story. I could regale you with much, much more, and will do incrementally in time. But I would like to wish you and your family, or if you're on your own, you, the very best for Christmas. I hope over the weekend and early next week you can experience what is a magical time. And if you haven't already, there's a little radio show that I did on Century 106 that it's called Santa's Magic or something. It's an hour-long phone-in with Father Christmas talking to the kids, talking to the children. And somebody said, well, Adrian, if only you could trace them and get one of them on. Well, maybe that's for a little Christmas special next year. But I hope that you enjoy it. And it's not about the food. It's not about the stuff. It's just about being with people that might just love you a little bit. Thank you, Dan. It's been lovely having you on this live tonight. Happy Christmas to all. It's goodwill to all men and women, irrespective of who you are and what they've done, just for a couple of days, because this world's a stony place at times, and it's not great at the moment. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Nuts and Bolts. Merry Christmas to all. I'm not sure. It's very busy over the next few days. I will try and do my best to do as much as I can within the limitations. Once the new Mrs. Allen and the young chap return from hopefully a most exciting and wonderful holiday in the Alps, and it's going to take a good couple of days to debrief, because I'm sure they'll be excited and want to tell me everything about it. But what I will do as much as I can do, given the circumstances around Christmas, and I'm looking forward to seeing my sister and her family. But I will be thinking about you, and I wish you well. I wish you the very best. Lots of love, and be well over Christmas, and we'll regroup again after the Christmas festivities, hopefully Boxing Day, but it's all dependent on other commitments. And if you want a live on New Year's Eve, maybe you're not going out, maybe you want to stay in, maybe you want to party and we can do something. I can't play music. Blimey, you think I was a DJ. And as I say at the end of all my videos and every live, thank you for your likes. 91 of them. Let's get them over 100. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you to everyone that's donated this evening. It's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But most of all, thank you for your indulgence. I love doing these. and I shall speak and see you soon. And if anybody wants to contact me away from here, especially Dan, if you go into the About tab, there is an email address there for the channel. So just be in touch. It'd be lovely to hear from about your adventures, Dan. And final word, don't forget the Battenberg. Mother Ayahuasca says so.